Ever wondered how the implementation of tariffs might affect your grocery bill? Tariffs, simply put, are taxes imposed on imported goods. They're often used as a tool to protect domestic industries from foreign competition. But here's the catch. When applied to food, they can have a significant impact on your wallet. Why? Because tariffs increase the cost of importing food, and these increased costs are typically passed on to consumers in the form of higher prices. This doesn't just apply to exotic fruits and foreign cheeses. It can affect a broad range of everyday items, from canned goods to frozen vegetables. As a result, the annual household expenses could witness a substantial hike. As we delve deeper, we will explore how these tariffs could specifically impact the prices and availability of certain food items. The agricultural sector is particularly sensitive to changes in trade policies. Now imagine this. Tariffs are imposed on imported goods with the noble intention of protecting domestic industries. However, this move could set off a chain of events that may not be quite as beneficial as one might initially think. In the world of farming, for instance, these tariffs could be a double-edged sword. On one side, they could protect domestic farmers from foreign competition. But on the other, they could invite retaliatory measures from other countries. This could mean that our farmers, who export a significant portion of their produce, may find their overseas markets shrinking. This could, in turn, lead to a decrease in farmers' incomes, making it harder for them to keep their farms afloat. But that's not all. Let's take a moment to talk about food prices. The United States imports about 15% of its food supply. With tariffs in place, the cost of this imported food could increase significantly. This is because tariffs are essentially a tax on imports, and like any tax, they tend to trickle down to the consumer. Now let's zero in on the fruit and vegetable industry. It's no secret that growing fruits and vegetables domestically can be challenging due to various factors such as climate, labor costs, and land availability. This is why we rely heavily on imports to meet our demand. However, with tariffs, these imported fruits and vegetables could become more expensive, which could lead to higher prices at the grocery store. So, what's the bottom line? While tariffs may be aimed at protecting domestic industries, they could end up negatively affecting both farmers and consumers in the long run. They could lead to lower incomes for farmers and higher food prices for consumers, making it harder for everyone to put food on the table. Ultimately, the effects of tariffs on the agricultural sector could increase food prices and impact consumers negatively. Let's take a closer look at how tariffs could impact the broader food industry. When tariffs are levied on imported goods, it's not just the producers who bear the brunt. Large food and beverage firms such as Diageo, Coca-Cola, and PepsiCo could also feel the pinch. You see, these companies rely heavily on global supply chains, importing ingredients from various parts of the world. If tariffs are imposed, the cost of these ingredients could increase significantly, leading to higher production costs. The ripple effect doesn't stop there. Higher production costs often translate to increased consumer prices, affecting everything from your favorite soda to the chips you love to snack on. This could cause a significant shift in market dynamics, with consumers potentially turning to local or cheaper alternatives. But the consequences of tariffs extend beyond just companies and consumers. Countries that heavily rely on exporting food products to the United States, such as Mexico and Canada, could face economic difficulties. This could result in job losses and a slowdown in these countries' food and beverage industries. On the labor front, tariffs could lead to job losses in the United States as well. If companies face higher costs and reduced demand, they may need to cut back on their workforce to stay afloat. This could lead to job losses, particularly in the food and beverage sector, which employs millions of people nationwide. As we can see, tariffs can have wide-ranging effects on the food industry and consumers alike. While tariffs can have negative impacts, it's important to note that there can be winners and losers in this scenario. A tariff is essentially a tax, and like all taxes, it can create both opportunities and challenges. In the world of food and beverage, this is no different. Let's start with the potential winners. Some domestic producers may actually benefit from tariffs. If foreign goods become more expensive due to tariffs, It might make locally grown or produced items more competitive by comparison. This could be a boon for local farmers or producers who have been struggling to compete with cheaper imports. It's a chance for them to regain market share and possibly even expand their operations. But on the flip side, there are also potential losers. Import-dependent sectors of the food and beverage industry could be hit hard. For example, companies that rely heavily on imported ingredients for their products may see their costs surge, forcing them to either absorb the costs or pass them on to consumers. This could lead to price hikes or even product shortages. And it's not just about the companies directly affected by tariffs. The ripple effects can be far-reaching. Consider the restaurant industry, for example. If the cost of ingredients goes up, so does the cost of meals. This could lead to decreased patronage and in turn negatively impact the profitability of restaurants. Then there are the beverage companies. Take American whiskey producers, for instance. They could face retaliatory tariffs from the EU, making their products more expensive and less competitive in those markets. On a larger scale, we might see shifts in global supply chains as companies look for more cost-effective sources of materials. This could lead to a reshuffling of the global food and beverage industry, with some countries emerging as new key players. So as tariffs are implemented, we may see shifts in the food and beverage industry, with some sectors faring better than others. But what does all this mean for you, the consumer? Well, let's break it down. When tariffs are imposed on imported goods, it's not just the agricultural sector or the food industry that takes the hit. The effects trickle down to the consumers. That's you and me. We all need to eat, right? And as much as we'd like to, we can't all grow our own food. That means we rely heavily on the food industry, and when the costs for them go up, so do the prices we see on the shelves. Think about your weekly grocery bill. Now, imagine it swelling by about 15 to 20%. That's the potential impact of these tariffs on your household expenses. Yes, you heard it right. The extra costs of tariffs could mean we're all paying hundreds, if not thousands more each year for the same groceries we're buying today. Now picture walking into your local grocery store and finding the fish section practically empty, or the price of apples so high that you decide to skip them altogether. That's another possible consequence of tariff shortages in certain food items. These shortages could be due to reduced imports or domestic suppliers struggling to keep up with demand. So what can we do as consumers? Well, one approach is to start stockpiling certain items in preparation for potential price increases. If you know that a large portion of your favorite fish, fruit, or vegetable is imported, it might be worth buying extra now before the prices go up. And while we're not suggesting you fill your basement with tinned tuna and apples, it's worth considering how you might need to adjust your budget and your shopping habits. In conclusion, while tariffs can have wide-ranging impacts on the agricultural sector and the food industry, perhaps the most direct impact will be felt by consumers who could face higher food prices and potential shortages. To sum up the discussion on tariffs and their impact on food prices, we've delved into the potential repercussions on consumers, farmers, and the food industry. Tariffs can significantly raise the cost of imported food, affecting everything from the fish we eat to the apple juice we drink. It's not just about higher prices, but also potential shortages that can put a strain on our food supply. Farmers, too, aren't immune to the effects of tariffs. Retaliatory measures from other countries can impact their incomes, potentially leading to government bailouts or shifts in the agricultural sector. And let's not forget the food industry. Large firms, even those producing our favorite beverages, could face challenges that disrupt global supply chains and market dynamics. Understanding how tariffs work and their potential impacts is more than just an economic exercise. It's about realizing how these decisions can directly affect our kitchen tables, our wallets, and our ability to sustain ourselves in uncertain times. While tariffs can be a complex topic, understanding their potential impacts can help us make informed decisions about our food purchases and overall household expenses.